Look at this beautiful map of northern Italy. Today I'm gonna talk both about northern and southern Italy because that's the dev area about the experience of Milan and Naples in EU5. The politics of the Italian peninsula are a double-edged sword. Foes and friends, allies and rivals are but identities prescribed and reassigned as easily as the wine flows in a cup. The Milanese position in this hostile environment is quite advantageous. Centered around the strong urban center in Milan, we may seek to project our strength on our newly conquered territories around us, whilst protecting against the menaces to the east and west. Internally, the rise of the autonomous city-states will likely cause issues to our administration and preservation of our sovereignty. We stand to gain an inconceivable amount of glory and prestige should we succeed in quelling both internal and external dangers under a strong united leadership. This is the text that you're being welcomed with when you're starting the game as Milan. And a few words about this country. You see it's having 29 locations, so it's pretty good. 1 million population, that's a lot, but obviously most likely almost half of it will die during the Black Death. 66 of the base tax, that's also a big amount, and 13,000 of a starting army. That's obviously the terrain map mode and political map mode. The guarantee form that Milan is playing is a signora, but not a standard signora that we can see in a lot of other cities in Italy in this period. It's a dynastic signora, meaning that yes, there's an election for the new ruler, but only within the ruling family of the Viscontis. As you see here, at the same time, it is most likely gonna be either a child or grandchild of the current ruler, as they're getting massive bonuses to the rank. Milan starts with 2 works of art, both of them created by Francesco Pecoriari just before the game starts. First of them is Tower of the Church of San Gottardo, which looks like this, and another one being Torazzo of Cremona, which it's actually freaking impressive. I need to visit it at one day. As we've seen for the other countries, Milan is also gonna have some of its own advances, which are national ideas. They start in Age of Traditions with Condottieri tradition, which is infantry power. They can in Renaissance unlock Renaissance Prince, which is skill of the new arts. The Age of Condottieri, for which is mercenary maintenance. In Reformation, it's gonna be a bit max literacy for encouragement of the philosophers, and obviously a few more that we don't see in this dev diary. How about events? They are probably a tier 2 country, so they have a decent amount of content, but it's not on the level as the Ottomans or England. But 50 dynamic historical events is a really decent amount, especially that it is on top of a lot of flavor in Italy in general that we are having. Like in the dev diary this week, we've heard about 2 situations that will be happening in Italy. One of them being the Guelphs versus Ghibellines, and actually Milan and Naples are leaders of 2 factions, and then later into the game also the Italian Moors. Sorry for my voice and my eyes, but the allergy is killing me. But yeah, look at this few events: a growing power in northern Italy, which is about concentrating the power in North Italy for you. The Visconti family of Milan is about changing from seigneurial government to a monarchy, where Viscontis would become the ruling monarchy of ours. Obviously, we can just take patience. Our time will come where they are not yet the monarchs. Then there's gonna be the Visconti city-states, which is decreasing the control of the country. But then with the legitimation of the power, which is another like continuation of that event chain, will at one point ask the emperor to confirm the crown of Milan being in the hands of Visconti, which will end up in the event We Shall With Our Own Story, which is changing the government to monarchy, changing some of advances, giving the autocracy guarantee form, and removing that previous privilege. There's an event about the cloth industry in Milan, which as you see is giving a specific privilege for Milanese cloth guilds, that is giving you silk output, fine cloth output, and monthly progress to capital economy. There are plenty of events about artists, characters being cabinet members, and obviously the new monuments. For example, you can invite Giovanni Balduccio to create the Ark of St. Peter the Martyr, which is looking like this. A fine piece of art being originally renowned status in EU5. You might be thinking, oh, why there's in EU5 no the most known building from Milan that we know nowadays, which is the Duomo of Milan, the Cathedral of Milan, where it is being created in 1340. So just tiny bit after the start of the game by Simone Orsenigo, and obviously I'm meaning this building. Let's learn a bit about the Kingdom of Naples. The King of Naples stands at the crossroads of its troubled history. Born from the ambitious and powerful dynasties seeking the dominion over the southern Italian lands, Naples rises as a bastion of resilience and cultural fusion that extends from ancient civilizations such as the Greeks and Romans to the more recent dynasties of the Poiteville, Hohenstaufen and Anjou, each leaving an indelible mark on its identity. In the year 1337, the kingdom finds itself under the rule of the visionary ruler King Robert the Wise d'Anjou, a wise and just monarch known for his sagacity and keen judgment. He has navigated the intricate web of political alliances with finesse. His rule has brought a period of relative peace, a welcome respite from the turbulence of the past. What will be of Naples when his steady hand falters? What will his successor do to stave off all those who covet the Neapolitan lands? So as we've heard, this is the King Robert the Wise d'Anjou. His stats are actually not as good as it sounds from that introduction. 65 locations, that's a lot. 2.5 million population, again, it's gonna be hurt by the Black Death. 111 base tax is massive, and 30k armies is also massive. That map mode is really good. I'm not sure I'm that big of a fan of the Politica map mode. I will most likely play on this one, which looks similar to Imperator Rome style, right? Well, you have a bit of the colors of the borders, but it's mostly the geographical map mode. The political map mode is also very interesting because besides starting with course in Sicily, they also have a PU over Provence, as well as Mandoy and Prato, wherever it is. And then they've got Little Albania and Achaia as subjects. They start with one work of art, which is Saint Louis of Toulouse crowning his brother Robert of Anjou, which is this painting. Honestly, it's not so impressive compared to what we've seen in Milan, but it is a masterpiece from 1317. They also have some advances, like University of Naples for institution growth, Accademia Pontaniana for max literacy, Encourage city living for boost to possible burgers in towns and cities and migration attraction, expanded the arsenal for the shipbuilding speed. They have a tiny bit more of the dynamic historical events, because around 60, but actually a lot of these events are, especially early on, are around the succession after your starting ruler, because based on what I'm reading here, and guys, it's only based on what I'm reading here, I don't have historical knowledge on that in Naples, so please don't kill me in the comment section like you tried after one of my previous videos, where I was only reading the dev diary. But it looks like the Princess Joanna, that in real life was very troublesome, will be also your big trouble in the succession after Robert d'Anjou's dying. So there'll be a few outcomes that you can decide on, where one you'll be pushing for Giovanna, or you can give it to the king from Hungary. There'll be an option to invite Francis Petrarca in all of this event chain, which is a known philosopher. Obviously that queen stats are not too good, and I love how this is being explained. Queen Giovanna d'Anjou will now rule our glorious country. We have been cursed. God have mercy on us all in these stats. But yeah, there are several possible outcomes to the reign of Queen Joanna, making for a very entangled situation, like, for example, giving the crown to the husband of Joanna. So that might be your strategy, to marry her to someone with good stats. Or there will be the Hungarian king of Naples pushing for his crown, which seems to be pushed by the Pope Benedictus and the consort in your country. But yeah, there are also some other events, like, for example, flavoring event about the library of the Angevin kings, Lorenzo Valla, which is a a character that can be invited, the donation of Constantine, which from this explanation seems to be... let's read it, I love reading this. The donation of Constantine, allegedly granted to Pope Sylvester in the 4th century, is a forged Roman decree that bestowed the papacy with seniority over the 4 other patriarchs and rights to the western portion of the empire. This document was widely used by the papacy since 11th century as justification to protect various papal interests. But yeah, that's it for today, at least for the base part of this dev diary. Next week we will talk about... we don't know. They're still thinking about it, but let's see the comment section if there's any other screenshots, advances or events we can find there. Are there any events to the conflicts between Naples and Sicily? Yes. Does Milan have anything about the Ambrosian Republic? Yes. The 2 Sicilies can be formed in game. It also looks like it's a new feature in the game, that when granting a privilege to one of the estates, it is instantly impacting the satisfaction of this estate and the other estates. Like you see, nobility is getting satisfaction, clergy and commoners are losing it. Somebody's asking why there are no special buildings and units like we've seen for some of the other countries. Like, come on, we can't have hundreds of special units and special buildings. But not all countries with flavor have unique units or buildings, as we didn't want to create templated content, besides some minimal standard content like the advances. So, for instance, the content from Milan and Naples is a much more narrative-oriented content, as how they interact with the G&G situation and their own internal developments. Also, they are very interesting countries to play from a mechanical standpoint. We use both a lot in our internal playtests. Any content related to Sforza getting to power in Milan or to Aragonis conquering the Naples. A man of force and determination, Francesco Sforza. Can Naples create the royal palace of Caserta? If yes, is it behind a certain date and advance? Time traveling to the 18th century, the royal palace of Caserta. It is already in game. And just FYI, this is the palace of Caserta. It's really beautiful. And yeah, that's a month of armies in the main tooltip right above the country. It is about whole army pool, including professional army and levies. And that's how the 2 cities are looking like in game. But yeah, this is all for today. I hope that you guys did enjoy me sharing a bit more of information about the content for very important Italian nations, and obviously subscribe to the channel to get notified about my next EU5 videos, or EU4 if you are still watching this. There's a lot of good campaigns I have in works, guys.